as advisors, we want our advice to stick, right? And we want to help people improve their financial life. We know the facts, we know what they should do, and we give them the facts, but why don't they take it? Why don't they apply it to their life? Now, one reason is we're just not packaging it well enough. If we want to increase the chance of our clients taking our advice, we should think about packaging it in a way that's maybe we're not doing well right now, and that's through story. And there's an easy way to do this. It's really just 2 steps to make something that's something more sticky and something that they'll remember. So I'm going to give you the easy framework and then give you a couple examples of how we use it at Streamline. So the framework is just 2 things. It's intention and then obstacle. That's a story in a nutshell, right? There's someone who has an intention to do something and then something gets in the way. The third component is the ending, right? The success or the failure. But just remember intention or obstacle. And I'll share how can we, a boring financial concept or idea, how do we put that in story form? This idea of intention, obstacle, that really works for anything, talking to clients, social media posts, or YouTube videos, or if you're doing a webinar, or if you're on stage, or whatever. If you're telling a story to your friends, it's excellent. And what it does is just takes a fact or a piece of information that you want to have stick, and then you find an example of an intention and then an obstacle. Here's the example for portfolio allocation. So when we were talking to a prospect about portfolio allocation, we were bringing up, we wanted to be prepared for the possible economic seasons that we can go through, which we don't know which is the next one, but there's really just 4 that we can go through. So one of them is higher than expected inflation. And this person we were talking to was underprepared or underallocated for that potential economic season. So to make the story stick, we pulled up a story from a previous client, or actually a previous prospect. And here's how it went. As we're preparing for the 4 economic seasons, many people think that they're already covered for these 4. We actually talked to a client not too long ago about, actually it was a prospect, and he thought he was prepared for higher than expected inflation because he had purchased inflation protected bonds in his trust account. That's great. But when we did the review, the portfolio review, those bond funds, they had a longer duration than he expected, or than he thought. And it was actually down, I think it was 10 to 15% in 2022, which was the year we were talking to him. So we then introduced him to a few other asset classes that can help prepare for this part or this economic season a little bit better than what he was doing. So the intention, prepare for the economic seasons. That's what he wanted to do. Obstacle, oh wow, wasn't thinking about the details of this investment, and it didn't work out well for him. Here's example number 2. It's a retiree moving. We sometimes recommend to retirees who are moving is think about, you don't always have to buy in the place that you're going. Maybe think about 6 to a year rental. Make sure you love the area. If you're not that familiar with it, see if it makes sense, because we've had plenty of retirees who move and then they really dislike it and they have to sell and move again. But we've also had people who retire and then they pick up and then they can move and they've got more freedom. We had a couple clients where they wanted to move, and it was actually where they grew up. So they retired, they went back and they purchased a house, or getting settled in. They did some improvements to the house, and within a year they realized it's not what they remembered, like when they were younger, and they didn't love living there anymore. So they ended up selling shortly after losing quite a bit of money on all the transactions and everything, and they eventually bought a place where they live now, and they're loving it. It was a completely different state. We also have another couple who moved to California, and they thought, we're going to rent in this community for a year, and they ended up loving it. And then they ended up saying, yeah, let's buy a place. And they felt more confident in that decision. So those are 2 quick examples of intention and then obstacle in story form to help clients remember and then actually have it stick, so that you're the person, you're telling the story, and it's helping them make a wise financial decision, or at least display some options for them. So I've got more story frameworks, and we use them. Sometimes we share them in the membership. If you're interested, you could check that out. If you like this video, give it a like. It's helpful for me and helpful for, hopefully it spreads to other advisors. So hope that was helpful. Story, intention, obstacle, and then I'll share more in the membership as well. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.